Bonsoir everyone, welcome to Chacha's Creepy Show. Tonight we are going to talk about cursed jewelry. There was a paranormal TV show back in the 90s when I was a kid. It didn't last long, but it was very popular at the time. It was called Mystères. I remember a particular episode that took place in Paris and I wanted to share it with you. Let's go back to Paris in the 80s, one of the city's most iconic decades. I wish I could go back to that time. Babette Museli is a happy young woman. She works in public relations in a prestigious Parisian restaurant, where she also handles events and receptions. She loves her job. She's happily married to Charles, who works as a bartender in another establishment. And to top it all off, Babette is pregnant with their first child. Everything in her life is going well, but unfortunately, that won't last. In early September of that year, Babette visits an antique shop. She spots a ring and instantly falls in love with it. It's an amethyst set with little diamonds. The piece is quite expensive, but Babette can't resist. She buys it on the spot and immediately slips it onto her middle finger. She can't wait to wear it. She walks out of the shop delighted and goes on with her life carefree. A week passes, then two. By the third week, trouble begins. First, at work. Things aren't running as smoothly as usual. Babette feels like nothing is going the way she wants it to. Then she starts experiencing frequent unexplained frights, something she never felt before. She often feels a cold chill down her neck and like fists pounding on her chest when walking down the street. But the most disturbing part is she constantly feels like someone is following her. She feels deeply uneasy when she's alone. This starts to affect her relationship. Since Charles is a bartender, he finishes work late at night. That had never been an issue before. But now Babette can't stand being home alone waiting for him, which leads to arguments. Charles is patient and kind, especially since Babette is pregnant. But day by day, he feels helpless in front of this sudden shift in her personality. Babette seems on the edge. She's become harsh and aggressive. Charles grows increasingly worried. He wonders if her behavior might be related to the pregnancy, but he doubts it. He's never seen her act like this. Babette, now 4 months pregnant, starts wondering the same thing. Could it be a hormonal imbalance causing it? It's her first pregnancy after all, so she has no point of comparison. But things only get weirder. Babette and Charles have many plants at home, plants they love and care for attentively, but gradually. These beloved plants start to wither and die without explanation. Charles would later say, "It felt like the plants were mirroring my wife's distress, as if they were absorbing some negative energy." Babette eventually reaches the end of her pregnancy. When she begins to feel labor pains and Charles prepares to take her to the hospital, she carefully removes all her jewelry. But strangely, her middle finger has swollen during the night. Only that one. And the ring is the only pieces she can't take off. So she heads to the hospital still wearing it. And a few hours later, she gives birth to a little girl named Alexandra. The delivery goes extremely well. Babette is touched by her husband's kindness. And despite the hard months behind them, she feels like the nightmare might be over. Indeed, since Alexandra's birth, Babette seems to be doing much better. Their relationship is back on track. A few weeks later, Babette happily returns to work. But as soon as she walked through the restaurant doors, she feels That same tension rising again. She can't control her aggressiveness. Nothing goes as she wants. Everyone irritates her. She becomes so controlling that she insists on doing everything herself. Her co-workers are stunned and helpless as they face this frenzy. One of them would later say it was like a complete personality change. Babette, once cheerful and bubbly, had become moody, sad, and worse, absolutely unbearable. He even said that Babette's gaze was no longer the same. The manager had to intervene repeatedly to try to calm her down, but her strange behavior persists, week after week, to the point where her job is now in jeopardy. Months pass, Babette swings between hysteria and exhaustion. One evening, at a dinner with friends, an old friend of the couple who had known Babette for a long time observes her. He thinks she's distracted at first, but as dinner goes on, he realizes the situation is much worse. He no longer recognizes his friend. He gently asks her what's wrong. Babette simply says that she's always arguing with Charles, her husband, and things at work are going terribly. The friend notices her behavior looks like that of people described as possessed in books he has read. He suggests introducing her to a psychic he knows, if she open to it, but Babette is skeptical. She says she'd rather consult her doctor, which she does, but her condition doesn't improve. So despite her doubts, she makes an appointment with the psychic, named Serge Deladet. She is very tense when she steps in. From the moment Babette walks into his office, Serge feels something dark emanating from her. It's like a pressure in the air, as if he can't breathe properly. Not because Babette is obviously nervous, but because he senses something. A presence, a negative and oppressive one. He even feels a form of repulsion. When he sees Babette's ring, he instantly knows it's the source. But he keeps his discomfort to himself. He points to the ring and asks how long she's been wearing it. Babette replies it's been a few months. That's when he tells her the ring is cursing her. And the only way to break the cycle is to get rid of it. It has to be destroyed. Serge later said that touching that ring felt like touching a snake. But Babette doesn't believe him. She thinks he's exaggerating, and she leaves the session. That's when even stranger things begin to happen. That evening, Babette is alone in the apartment, putting on makeup in the bathroom mirror. She feels like someone brushes against her, like someone is behind her. Suddenly, in the reflection, she sees a ghostly woman staring at her. Babette is terrified. She turns around, no one is there. On the top of that, her sleep grows increasingly disturbed. She starts waking up at night with terrible panic attacks. Every night, she hears footsteps in the apartment. Babette becomes obsessed with the vision of that woman in the mirror. She gets up multiple times each night and checks every room, but the oppressive presence remains. Even if the apartment is empty, she knows the woman is still there. Sometimes objects fall to the floor on their own. Now Babette is at her breaking point. She panics and calls the psychic. Serge tells her once again her situation is terrible. She has to get rid of the ring. Babette finally gives in. She realizes that this cycle of disasters started the moment she bought the ring. But that morning her finger is so swollen. She can't remove the ring herself. She goes to a jeweler who uses a special tool to cut the ring off. The moment it comes off, Babette feels immediate relief, like she can breathe again. But it's not over. The psychic still has to help cleanse her of the negative energy the ring has left behind. She goes back to Serge so they can work together to free her from all those waves of misfortune still clinging to her. It's a tough session. Babette has trouble relaxing. At the end, Serge asks if she will let him keep the ring so he can work on it further. She agrees and leaves him with it. Alone, Serge performs a psychometric reading, a form of clairvoyance, and the ring tells him its story. Its previous owner was a 49-year-old woman, a glamorous Parisian socialite, beautiful and elegant. She died of breast cancer after years of suffering. She passed away alone in a hospital bed, neglected by her children and mostly abandoned by her husband. And for years, she never took the ring off. It absorbed all the negative energy she emitted during her pain and grief. Serge channels this woman's personality and feels everything she had to endure. He feels a stabbing pain in his left side, like being stabbed by a knife. He walks in spirit through endless hospital corridors. Then a Parisian street, where he clearly sees a building's facade. He recognizes the area, with an old church serving as a landmark. Serge now wants to confirm his vision. He visits the church in real life and finds the building. He speaks to the caretaker, who confirms that a woman from the second floor died years ago of breast cancer. Her husband was rarely there, and her daughters barely visited. She was miserable, suffering alone without her family's support. Serge later meets with Babette to share his findings. He tells her the situation is very serious. The ring must be destroyed immediately. Babette agrees. Even though she feels better, some shadows still remain. She meets with Serge again, who performs again a kind of cleansing ritual. And this time Babette really feels something is shifting. Those phantom punches she always feels gone. The pain disappears, as if something has been pulled off of her chest. She can finally breathe calmly. The ring is broken, but there is more final step to fully release her, following a specific ritual. So Serge and Babette go together to the banks of the Seine and throw the pieces of the ring into the river. Babette later says in her own words, the sun returned to our home. Everything in her life, her marriage, her job, suddenly gets better. She realizes how much the ring had poisoned her life. Charles confirms it. It felt like a true release. The cost of the ring meant nothing compared to the peace they've regained. As for Serge, he says the process isn't without risk. He suffered after effects. Intense pain in his left arm, insomnia, inexplicable anxiety. He says that when you absorb someone else's suffering, some of it always stays with you. I don't know about you, but I don't like wearing things that belong to other people. Unless it's from a family member, but even then I'm still uneasy. Maybe it's because of this story I watched when I was a kid. But thankfully this story ends well. And I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care and I'll be back soon. Bye.